Welcome to SoCal Surf with Dan Nappy. We went surfing on Saturday, but we decided to go really early in the morning to Newport Beach Pier, and it was really good size, very glassy. We got up at 5. We were in the water by 5:30, just getting light, and it was, it's interesting because the day before we were there, and we said, it'd be great if it was like, Wes said about 6 inches bigger. And I said, yeah, 6 inches to a foot bigger would be great. If you're going to go 6 inches, you might as well go a foot bigger. And so we got there on Saturday morning, and it was exactly about a foot bigger. So it was really good size, good glassy. We started off at the pier, but that quickly got crowded. But right when I got there, I got a beautiful left that was just so smooth and glassy and perfect, probably waist to shoulder high, and just beautiful. And then within about 30 minutes, it just got really crowded at the pier. So we drifted down a little further north because the current was kind of going that way. So we drifted further north, and it was still good. Excuse me, it was still good. Not quite as good as the pier, but good enough. And there was less people, so we can go after just about any wave we wanted. For the first hour till about 6:30, it was great. And then towards 7 o'clock, people started coming in. And so we were just trying to get our last few waves because we wanted to get out of the water by 7. So we were just trying to catch as many as we could. And it was great. It was a perfect size for Wesley. It was a good size for me. I could have gone bigger, of course, but I'm not complaining because it was really, really smooth and glassy. And at 7 o'clock, it started to get crowded, but before that, it was just beautiful. Remembering back a couple of days ago, maybe it was a day or so ago, when there was so many kids in the water. Every wave you took off on, you had to dodge people. And Wesley almost ran over a group of girls. I guess he did run over some boards as they were all screaming and running, but they really didn't need to. He was in control of the surfboard. But just every time you took off on Friday, it was just crowds of people, groups of beginners on foam boards, and so you had to move around them. So it kind of made it a little more challenging, and kind of some waves you couldn't do what you wanted to on them because there were so many people. But in comparison, Saturday was just perfect for that because there was very little people, and when you caught a wave, there was nobody really on the inside. Everybody was out catching waves, so you didn't have to dodge people very much. So it was really, really good. It's too bad that Danny had to leave early. He left the day before that, so we didn't get any video of that day. We got a little bit on Friday, Thursday. It was good. It was some good shots here and there, so fun to do. Fun to look at it and see how much, how not good you are. You think you're better than that, but when you look at the film, you think, I could have turned harder here, or I could have continued on that wave. So little things that you look at when you're looking at the video that you could have done better. So it's good practice. Good, look at what you're doing and try to improve it. But at my age, it's not really improvement. It's just surviving anymore. We're just trying to keep it steady, just have fun out there. So it was really good. And then so we headed out of the water. We're looking for our last wave, and usually when you say one more wave, it takes forever to find it. But we said one more wave, and sure enough, one came right for us. And so I took it, and it was a good wave. And then, just rode it, and then laid down and rode it the rest of the way in. So it made it for a good day. And then we went in, got showered up at the showers there on the north end of the parking lot. That's where my car was parked. And then we headed back to Huntington. And that was it. I was going to go surfing at Huntington as well. But it turns out the surf was just way too big and stormy. There was just giant waves of water well overhead high, maybe 15, 20-foot faces in some of those big sets, and nowhere to go. You take off and there's no corners. It's just getting hammered. Plus the current was so strong. It was just whipping down the beach. So I went and looked at it for a little bit and just realized that it was way too much work. There was very few people out. There was a contest on the south side, the NSSA, National Scholastic Surfing Association, which is, I think like junior high on up to even college level. And there was a lot of little kids in the water surfing, young, I would say junior high to high school age. They weren't catching a lot of waves. They were doing a heck of a lot of paddling. Excuse me. But they weren't catching a lot. When I first got there, was mostly girls, and the guys got in the second group, and they were catching more waves and doing more on them, but still really big, huge waves coming in. So it wasn't a lot of people. Even on the north side, there was only maybe 5 people in the water, and constantly paddling south because the current was whipping you down the beach north. So if you got caught a wave on the inside and tried to get back out, you'd be down the beach, a couple hundred yards. Best thing to do is either get out, walk up to the pier, and paddle out alongside the pier, and that's even a lot of work. The best thing is don't ride the wave too long. Get a couple of turns in and get out of it, and paddle back out before the sets come in and push you down the beach. So it was a lot of work, big surf. And even for Huntington, it was big. So I would say, don't go out. A lot of rip tides. I heard in the news this morning that one day, I think it was Saturday or Sunday, they had 80 rescues close to Huntington. And another brainiac took a jet ski out by the wedge and got caught with a giant wave that they weren't looking at, and it caught their jet ski and threw it onto the rocks. And the lifeguard and several surfers had to go out and pull the people in. And so they were caught at the wedge with some big surf. It wasn't, we went and looked at the wedge earlier, but it wasn't breaking like it should. I mean, the waves were big, but the angle on the wedge wasn't correct. And so the waves weren't jacking up at the end and getting even bigger, which is probably a good thing. But these people weren't looking and turned their back to the ocean as they were looking on shore, and a giant wave came and just knocked them off that jet ski. Luckily, they had life jackets on, which kept them afloat. Otherwise, they would have surely drowned or ended up on the rocks. And the lifeguards got out there, and there was a lot of people scrambling around trying to pull these people in. And you're trying to save people. In the same time, you're trying to save yourself from being, held under and thrown on the rocks as well. So pretty scary there for a while. Those people, they survived. They were okay, but could have been a lot worse if they didn't have the surfers and the lifeguard there. They would have surely died, both of them. The wedge is no place for beginners or tourists. Only the highly experienced should be out in those type of conditions. Occasionally, the wedge is small enough that you could surf it, but generally speaking, you want to stay away from there unless you know what you're doing. And that is all for now. Let's get back on this surf thing and see what we can do tomorrow. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks. Bye.